Politicians and celebrities make deals behind closed doors, promises broken, and their income soars. Hidden agendas run the grand parade, in the circus choose a masquerade. Believe me, I wouldn't lie. I've been given money, power, and fame to keep you in line.
Welcome to today's episode where we are talking again about our goal setting and mindset to achieve what we want. So today we're going to be talking about what kinds of goals that we should have to be happier. Okay, so we will be talking about eudaimonia and hedonism. So there's two types of goals that people can have. They can either be, let's define both of these terms and then we can get into which one. So eudaimonia, it doesn't mean just being happy. It's more like flourishing, thriving. So you can have like a plant that's alive, but is it growing? Is it blooming? Is it really shiny? That's eudaimonia, right? So this idea comes from Aristotle, and it's like, a philosopher from Greece. We can get into that another time. And he said the best way to live isn't just about feeling good, but about doing good and becoming the best version of yourself. So it's like, if happiness was a video game, eudaimonia would be leveling up. Okay, so how do you get there? It's not just like having fun and, doing whatever we want or whatever we feel like would give us pleasure in the moment. So these are the 3 points that he mentions. First is virtue. So that's be the best you can be. So virtuous things like courage, honesty, kindness. This is like, you have to have some sort of virtuous aspects of yourself in this philosophy to be a good person, to have eudaimonia, and then to be like happy. Okay, the next is activity. So doing things that matter. So it's not just like watching mindless videos on the internet, but actually learning, helping other people, creating things in the world, doing important things out there. And then the last is purpose. So this is like you have to figure out. We'll do that another one. We'll figure out what we're meant to do and what makes us feel like making a difference, and then focus on that. So imagine if your goal wasn't just to be happy, but more like, I want to be an amazing person. So eudaimonia is about finding that person in your goals in your everyday life. It's about growth, not just comfort. Comfort, no. Growth, yes. So the next time you're going to set a goal, think, is this making me grow? Or is this making me flourish? Or is this just something I want to do for myself and has no purpose and could be detrimental? Okay. So now let's talk about hedonism. Like, we all think we know what hedonism is. So let's say hedonism is about maximizing pleasure in the here and now, which is very important. Here and now pleasure. It's like saying, why save some cake for later when we can just eat it all right now? But there's a catch, because imagine if every day was a party, let's say. It sounds really good until you consider hangover. I mean, because most of you drink, let's face it, both literally and metaphorically. And then, so you have living well in the moment at the expense of the rest of your life. And it can look something like this: short-term joy, long-term regret. So let's say you skip work or studying and you have an epic weekend adventure. It's fun at that moment. It's kind of priceless, you'd even say. But then come Monday, you've missed deadlines, exams, there's consequences. Maybe you lose your job. Maybe people are mad at you. Maybe you lose respect, you lose your reputation, all those things. Or like, let's say you engage in a lot of promiscuous, meaningless intercourse with randoms and end up with, like, it's fun at the moment. You're like, this is great, this is wonderful. But then you end up with STDs, you, unwanted and unloved, angry, bitter children all around the place. Um, and these children go on to ruin society. And then ultimately you die alone because everybody's mad at you because, you didn't pick one, whatever. These things happen. And then we have like health and well-being. So like that's back to like eating whatever you want, whenever you want to. And it feels really amazing when you're doing it. It's very comforting in that moment, but then your body doesn't thank you. So then you have like financial things. Okay. That's like splurging on items for instant gratification. And a lot of us are guilty of this. Whenever we get stressed out, whenever, we just want to feel good in the moment, we might splurge on experiences for something instant. So it's like the new shiny thing. It feels really great until you check your bank account and you realize you're further and further away from your long-term goals. So like in a relationship, it could be focusing only on like fun would mean neglecting deeper connections. So like you might like enjoy your friends at the party, but they don't really know who you are because everything's kind of superficial. So you have to think of that. And then the problem with hedonism isn't the pursuit of pleasure per se. It's when it becomes the only pursuit. It's like living off sugar. It's sweet for the moment, and then you end up with diabetes and you have to cut off your legs, right? So living well involves balancing immediate joy with long-term well-being, right? So when hedonism is unchecked, it can lead to a life where you're constantly chasing the next high, leaving little room for like personal growth, any sort of stability, or any sort of meaningful connections. So it's great. And we know people like this, right? We know like really fun people, and maybe they're like the fun, grandiose narcissists, right? Like they're so much fun at the party. They're like whatever, but they're really selfish. They're really unpredictable. They don't make really good choices. You can't count on them. So you think they're fun and you have a great time with them, but you maintain your distance because you're like, this person is not stable. They're not bettering themselves. They're not bettering society. They're, kind of just, a good time, but not a long time. You know what I mean? So yeah, like it can be fun, but these are the people that like when you're not looking, they're alone at home crying. Maybe they have some sort of substance abuse problems. These are not like happy, joyful people. So some more, let's see. Okay. So what's the point? Eudaimonia isn't about shunning pleasure, right? I still want you to have pleasure in your life. You should have pleasure. It's about seeking fulfillment through growth, purpose, and virtue, right? Like I said before, it's like choosing the career path that's challenging but meaningful and not just easy but empty ultimately. So imagine you're setting your goals not just for the weekend, but for a lifetime. And you can ask yourself, like, what will make me a better person? Will this goal make me a better person? What will make my life more meaningful? So in the end, it's not about choosing one over the other completely, because life is too short to not have any fun, right? But if you want to live a life that's not just enjoyable, but truly enriching, you have to lean very heavily towards eudaimonia. So balance joy of today, but focus on the growth for tomorrow. So when we're picking out our goals, okay, so let's say something that would be hedonistic is I want to sleep with 1,000 women, right? That's hedonistic. You're going to think it's going to make you really fulfilled and whatever and happy and everything. But like I said before in the example, you could have kids out of wedlock that grow up to hate you, and they come from single parent households and they're brought up to hate. Maybe your daughters will hate all men, not trust anyone. You won't have that connection with them if you were in the home. So you're basically ruining society. Or you could just be going the other way where you have a family, you know your kids know you, your kids like and trust you and respect you, and they want to emulate you and be a respectable, likable person in society. So in that way, you have bettered society, right? And then back to hedonism. Let's say you want a goal of, I want to go to every Michelin star restaurant. That's really nice. It's a great experience, right? But you also have to go, is this like really a good goal? Like, is this bettering society? It's kind of a silly goal to want to have. Now, if you are not engaging in lots of like, eating lots of junk food or lots of sweets or doing really like whatever, it could be okay. It could be a fine goal, but it's not going to be something that's going to better your life and society overall. A better goal would be, instead of like, I want to eat all this fancy food from everywhere, which is, a lot of people have that goal, not knocking it. It's fun to go and eat fun foods, right? It's the aftermath that kind of sucks. But a better goal would be, I want to be as healthy as I can be. I want to figure out what's the healthiest diet for me. What are the healthiest foods for me that make me feel good, that I can do a lot of things. And then maybe not only do I want to figure those things out, but I want to share them with people so that maybe they can follow along and be inspired to be healthy or something like that. So like that would be a better goal long term. Because just think about, like, on your deathbed, you're like, I banged 1,000 chicks and ruined like 1,000 kids' lives. Or I had a great, successful family. I have a great lineage. I've left behind really good people in the world that are doing a lot of good in society. Like, this is a different person. Like, one person is going to be more fulfilled. The other person is going to be fulfilled for a moment and then have a long-term set of problems because of that moment. And then you have like the eating thing, like, oh, I want to eat all of the cakes and every pastry all over the world. That's beautiful. That's a fun goal. Like, that's okay once in a while. We can still do that, but that shouldn't be your main goal. Like, I want to eat freaking crazy pastries every day. And people do, believe it or not, have goals like this. They have goals like, I want to be super rich so that I can eat like whatever I want, whenever I want, and no one can make fun of me for like, eating it or whatever. It's like, these are not good goals, guys. So I've been talking to some people like about like, what are your goals or whatever, and I get some crazy things like this. So just made me think of why it's important to think about what kind of person you want to be when you're coming up with your goals. Because we don't want you to be the type of person that just like has selfish, narcissistic, self-destructive goals for the sake of like one-upping someone. It's like, oh well, I've been to 5,000 countries. I don't know, whatever, 120 countries all over the world. I'm so wonderful. And it's like the other person's like, well, I've been present for my friends and family. It's like, what's going on here? Now, if you really think about it and you're like, my goal is not to have any family ties or connections to anyone, to just live a life for myself. I mean, sure, but you also have to remember, is that going to really get you what you want? Is it really going to get you what? Is it just bragging rights? Is this really your goal because you're going to be able to like one up people at a party? Is that what you're going to think about? Like, all the people you made jealous because all the countries you visited at a party? Is that the goal? Or would you rather like really build something somewhere with some other people? Like, maybe have a community that you start, something positive in the world. So while we're making our goals, let's also try to incorporate a little bit of our virtues and principles and some meaning and everything like that into our goals. So, I mean, I was kind of like doing this too. So, like, I got to check myself too. Like, no, I don't just want to be the hottest person in the room. I also want to be the healthiest person in the room and an inspiration to everyone else so that they can come and say, hey, how did you do that? And then I can help them, right? That's a better goal than I just want to be hot to one up people. And yeah, we can have those thoughts. It's fun to think about that, but we also have to be careful that we're not making goals for the wrong reasons. Another thing, it's like, I really have a goal of like having maybe like a skyrise penthouse apartment with a view of the ocean and blah, blah, blah. Now that seems like it's kind of, that's not really helping. Is that just a hedonistic goal or that whatever? But then I'm thinking like, okay, it's also, that means I'm in a position where my family is not stressed about money and finances. And we also don't have to worry about, I don't know, yard work and doing all these things. So like it's more relaxing, chill life. And then I can, have more time to do other things like create stuff, make stuff, do art, do whatever to like give back and still have a creative force in the world. So like, yes, you can have goals that seem kind of like selfish. It's okay. But what you're doing shouldn't be detrimental to your future. Okay. So there's a difference. Want good things, but make sure you're really looking at what the end result of that is and decide, is this really the end result that I wanted? Okay. Like lots of people just want lots of money. Okay. And this is a very common thing. I want lots of money. And you might tell yourself it's so you don't have to worry. But then there comes a point where you get addicted to like making money. And then you meet people. Once you make money, right? Now you're around people who have even more money than you. But are you happy that you made that? Or are you saying, well, now I have to compete with these people, so I have to spend less time with my friends and family. The reason that I said I wanted to make the money, I'm going to spend less time with the people that matter most so I can compete with these people that I didn't even know when I didn't have anything. You see the disconnect there? We need to be very careful about our goals and our desires so that we do not succumb to this rat race, because then you've never arrived, right? You're not enjoying the process, you're not enjoying the moment, because you're always like living for, once I get this, and then you get that and you're like, well, now I need this too, and then you get that and you're like, well, no, and then meanwhile you've lost your connection with your friends and your family, and you're just trying to impress people that look down on you. You don't even really like, you just want to one up them. It's silly. So let's all go back to our little goals for 2025. Remember, we are going to go full on hard on our goals in the spring equinox, because that is the rebirth of the year. That is when all the babies are born in nature. That is a beautiful thing. Just, yeah. Okay. So we're going to start in the spring equinox, and I will be making these so that we can get our mindset and our goals ready for the spring equinox, so that once we're there, we know exactly what we want, how we're going to do it, why we want this and not something else, and narrow things down. So the next thing that I'm going to do a stream on will be, and message me if you guys have any other ideas, but it's going to be on what we need to do to choose something that we're good at to like focus on. Because a lot of people, it's human nature. Whatever it is that you really suck at, you're like, why can't I do that? Like, I want to do the thing that I suck at the most. Like, for example, I'm short. So if I said my dream is to be the best basketball player in the world, is that really what I'm here to do? Does that even make any sense? That something that is so incredibly far-fetched, out of reach, something that I'm not even good at, why would I want to do something that like the best people are super tall men? But then I go, no, it's my dream. It's your dream because it's the one thing that you really suck at. And that's what most people have. Most people's dreams are, whatever I really, really suck at, I want that. I want to use that to like make money, make wealth, make my success. Right? Or like, let's say you can't draw a stick figure. And then you go, my dream is to make money as an artist. You can't draw a stick figure. Are you kidding me? We need to be a little more careful with our dreams and our goals, that we're not going against the grain. Like, for example, there's a lot of people that they have no idea what they're really good at. They don't ask anybody. They're not doing any, like, tests online to like find their aptitudes and stuff like that. They're not even curious about these things. You have to get curious and figure out, what am I good at? What am I really good at the end of the day? And then you have to go, okay, it's easier than most people for me to do something in this direction, and then find a way to like make money, generate wealth, generate whatever you need in that direction. So another thing, oh my God. Wonderful. So the fish are gone because I moved them to a bigger home in the living room. So they're very happy. And if you were on the Discord, you could see that, because hello, I have my fish section in the Discord so you can see the fish tanks. Anyways, so yeah, we're going to figure out what we're good at. Yes, Anson ate some of the fish. He was hungry. So we're going to figure out what we're good at, and then we are going to focus on what we're good at to achieve our goals. So another thing, let's say you're really, really bad at math, right? Like me, I was so bad at math. Like I could not do math. You know what? And it's also because I didn't care enough, and I'm probably a little dyslexic. So like the numbers would bunch up, be really hard to like keep it straight in my head. So math, not my thing. But for whatever reason, and it wasn't just me, it was the other girls that sucked at math too. We had this stupid idea that we were going to become like the most famous mathematicians in the world and come up with like new equations. What? Meanwhile, if I picked up any sort of paintbrush or whatever, I was amazing at painting. But I said no, because I'm good at that. I don't value it. And a lot of times we don't value things that we're good at. Like if we're really good at explaining something and people are like, wow, you know a lot about that, but you don't value it because you're like, I already know everything about it. It's not that impressive. And you expect everyone else knows the same stuff that you do, but they don't know. They don't know any of it. And they're actually really impressed by the fact that you know these things. But instead of like going, okay, well, everybody likes that I know this and I can teach this. Why don't I like focus on this harder, get even better at it because I'm already really good at it. And then maybe I can teach, maybe I can do some courses, maybe I can help people get better at it. But no, instead we're like, what is the thing that I suck at the most? And then we're like, this is my dream. I want to be good at that. And it's just like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with all of us? Like, why do we do this? Why can't we just go, I'm really good at this. I'm going to get better at this because I'm already like halfway there. Why can't I just go the full way? So we're going to do some tests. I'm going to scour the internet for some tests on like aptitudes. We're going to do them together next time. We're going to get really good at figuring out what we're already good at so that we can tailor our goals towards that. Like, for example, if I'm really good at, creative stuff, visualizing stuff, making charts, making diagrams, whatever, I'm not going to be, let's say, great at making, I don't know, like counting figures and numbers and blah, 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 blah. Like I would probably lean towards more visual aids or whatever to help me achieve my goals. And same with everything else. So we have to figure out what we're good at, and then we're going to go that way. So what's the next thing? The next thing is embracing failure as a stepping stone, because a lot of people, they expect to be like, even if you have an aptitude towards something, that doesn't mean you're not going to fail immediately or 20, 30 times when you're starting it. Like, even if you have the best aptitude, imagine you're like, I don't know any sports people. Imagine a famous sports person, right? That does the basketballs, right? So he's a basketball person, and right now he's like the top basketball person on the world, right? But the first time he went to shoot a hoop, he didn't make it in, right? Imagine if he gave up 30 times he didn't make it in. Oh, I guess I got to give it up. Right? Like, we don't do that. And then someone like me who's like, no aptitude. Maybe I just like get lucky and put it in. But like my wrist is like weak and it's just, and I'm short and it's a big mess. But let's say it gets in. And then he goes, oh, I guess she's going to be better at me than me at this. It's like, come on. No, you're good at things. You just have to figure out what they are. And then you might have to put in some work to get even better at it. And you're not going to always be flawless at everything when you're starting something new. So we're gonna understand that failure is just course correction, if anything. Yes. And look, if I can make money as a troll on the internet, I think I would be so good at it. Like, it's literally the best thing in the world. But I mean, I guess we could make money trolling people. Yes, you could be like an internet comedian and troll, like just make fun of people all around the internet. Like, yeah, people love that. Go around the internet, right? Troll people and then make your own channels trolling people and laughing about them. See, this is a nice goal. See, I like how we're brainstorming together. We're getting really good goals. All right. So our goal is we're going to troll people if we're good at it. We're going to do art if we're good at that. We're going to do sports if we're good at that. We're going to find what we're good at, and then we're going to go into that. All right. Next, we have the sunk cost fallacy. When you're achieving your goals, if I was crazy and I said, hey, I'm 2 feet tall and a girl, I'm going to become the world's famous basketball player. And I spent years, let's say I was crazy and I spent years trying to be the world famous basketball player and it just didn't happen. I'm not going to keep freaking investing and, using all my time to be this basketball player. Eventually I'm going to have to be like, what am I doing here? People need to be like, yeah, you should, look, sometimes there's haters and sometimes there's people that actually love you and they're like, are you sure? You're sure? You're sure? You're 5 feet tall. You're a girl and you're like 98 pounds. You're going to be a basketball player? Really? You sure? So maybe run it by some people that actually care about you and have no jealousy towards you and are not competing with you in any way. Like people who are doing like amazing, you ask people who are doing like so much better than you, like they have no reason. Usually, I mean, there's always a few, but usually they have no reason to like poo-poo any of your crazy ideas. So let's not get into a sunk cost fallacy, following things, having goals that are just absolutely not what we should be doing. And the other one is you need to have something called grit, right? So grit is when things get hard, and they will, you got to keep going. Every time you have a setback, every time things don't go your way, you have like a bad day, you have to keep doing it. Like, for example, sometimes, let's say, like when I was doing my podcast, sometimes I would get, there was one time I got confused with the guests because I had 2 guests that had like a similar topic. And I think I called one of the guests, like one of them was about blood pressure medication and the other one was about cholesterol medication. And then when I was asking the questions, I kind of switched them. So he didn't want to make me feel bad. And I remembered halfway through the podcast and I felt like an idiot. Now, if I didn't have any grit, I would just be like, oh, I think I suck at this. Oh, this was embarrassing. This kind of sucks. But because I said, you know what? My bad. I was asking the wrong questions. And then I picked it up and the rest of the podcast, I got on topic and I kind of saved it. And I said, you know what? That's my fault, whatever. And I just kept going. I kept going. The next day I did better. The next day I did better. And I just kept. And then eventually I got really good, awesome guests, which I know none of you guys watch or listen to my audio podcast, but it's really good if you're into health. and wellness. Check it out. It's really good. And yeah, don't give up when you make a mistake, even if you embarrass yourself severely. It's all part of the process. So we'll be talking about this week how to find out what we're good at so that we can figure out what we're going to do in that area and set goals accordingly. Because I think pretty much everybody's goal is to like make some money, because you need that to do like all the things we got to do to survive in this world, right? Now your goal could just be to be ridiculously healthy and good looking and whatever, which is a great goal. But if you want to do that, unfortunately, in this economy, you need to be able to afford the really high quality food. Meat's expensive, raw dairy is expensive, high quality pastured soy and corn free type eggs, they're expensive and they're hard to come by. So you usually have to order them from far away and ship them to you. It's a big process. So for all of this, we need money. And in order to have money, we need to figure out what we're good at. And then once we get that, we figure out a goal to make us money that's also helping others and keeping with our virtue and our morals and our values. And then we're going to go in. So that's what we're going to do for the rest of this week. So come back tomorrow sometime. I don't know what time I'm going to do it, but it will be in the Discord. And make sure you join the Discord. It is, I will put it, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what it is. Let me put it in anyways. This is the Discord. Please join, hang out with us. And remember, there's a lot of crazy people in the Discord. They say a lot of inappropriate things. Try not to have thin skin. Thicken up that skin. You need some collagen supplements before you join the Discord, so you have thicker skin, right? Okay. So anyways, yes. Like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time. And Costco has 3 5-pound bags of grits on sale. Okay, so for those of you that need some grit in your life, okay, wonderful. And Believe in Yourself is going to put a link for breath work in our Discord, so we can do some breath work, so we can chill, because that's always important. And hello. Yes, and this is why I still have my husband. Thank you, because I was very expensive and he doesn't want to go out there anymore. So winning. All right. Laters, guys. Have a great day. See you next time. Bye.
Start the revolution, let the truth begin. Wake up, defeated lies. Control the media's got you hypnotized. Trust authority, they'll take your soul. Break the chains, find your own control.